This year it was my turn on the Kansas lease. Me and Eric are heading out there, and Jason was left out in the cold. However, he got an invite from Dan Drake at Scent Crusher to come and hunt on his ranch.
Earlier this year, Chris Ward was hunting in Kansas and was determined to kill a giant. An older buck kept showing up at the stand, and Chris constantly resisted the urge to let an arrow fly in his hope of dreaming big. But his patience wore thin when all his other encounters went south. On his last days, and at last night, Chris was able to call in this buck to his tree with his Cherokee bone call.
I am happy. I am tickled to death, and he's going to look good on my Virginia wall.
Then Eric Hale was up to bat in Kansas. After battling warmer temperatures than expected, Eric kept out hope as the Browning trail camera showed there were some plains drifting bucks showing up at a particular spot. And fortunately for Eric, this plains drifting buck came in and gave him the shot he was hoping for. With a little help from his dead ringer broadhead, Eric happily recovers this stud.
That's a pretty buck. I couldn't be any happier right here in Kansas, I'm telling you. We have had an absolute blast. Me and Chris have both tagged out.
Now it's Jason Bauer's turn to hunt in Kansas, and he's counting on Kansas to once again give him some more of that Midwest buck luck he's been fortunate enough to appreciate. And hopefully bring down another giant Kansas whitetail.
Man, I am coming off of an incredible week of hunting in Indiana with Jeff and Tara Peel. I'm headed to Scent Crusher Ranch with Dan Drake to hunt, and it's going to be a blast. Nick Hoffman from Nick's Wild Ride's there. Dan's there. He's got a camp full of people. We're going to have a blast. Make sure you subscribe and like the page. On top of that, make sure you click the little notification bell. That way you'll be one of the first ones to know when a new video drops. We're in Kansas, land of the giants. Anything can happen. I'm telling you, when you pull in the deer camp and you see the big Scent Crusher truck, you know you're at the right place. So here, there's one thing about Dan. If Dan's gonna do it, Dan does it big. So I mean, check out that truck right there. But that is a cool truck. Hopefully he'll let us take that hunting tonight. I came out this summer and I hung a bunch of cameras and stands so I would know what's going on when we got out here, but I stayed in this little cabin. It's one of the coolest cabins I've seen. I mean, literally, it looks like you're in Texas. And then he's come out here, he's got hammocks up, so I mean, I'm sure knowing Dan, he's been taking naps during the middle of the day while everybody else is doing all the work. Checking out some of these deer they've killed in the past. I mean, that right there is 2 studs. Blueberry, chocolate peanut butter. He got all kinds of food for us to eat. We roll into camp and it is amazing. I love this little cabin. It's like a Texas style cabin out in the middle of the prairie in Kansas. It's just unbelievable. So first things first, it's time for me to unpack, get my Scent Crusher going, get my Expedition bow, and make sure it's still shooting straight. Luckily, he's got an extension cord over here outside that I can plug this thing up with. Hey, it's actually got power on it. That's a good thing. All right. That's plugged up, that's good to go. So get the old bow out, shoot the Expedition, see, make sure it's still lined up. I always want to do make sure it's right when I get to camp. See what old Danny boy's got in here in the building. Look here, got a bunch of deer cards, bunch of advanced stands, bunch of zombies. Look just like Chris Ward. I'll take this little doe out here and shoot at her. About the size of deer that Chris likes to shoot. Surely if I can hit that, I can hit a Kansas deer. I'm gonna tell you what, this old Expedition is shooting bullets right now. I mean, it's throwing darts. That's 20, 30, 40, everything's perfect. I mean, I shoot this bow as good as any bow I've ever shot in my life, so. All right, it is time to see some of Dan's property. It's time for him to take me around, show me the farms, let me figure out where I want to hunt.
Great to see you.
You too, brother. I hope you don't mind I shot your target.
Oh.
Little fawn. That's the size deer I like to shoot. Little ones, you know, babies.
Well, we got a couple of those here for you.
I'm good with that. I'm from Virginia,
So you're used to that size, doesn't matter?
We've got the Polaris's loaded up, and we're gonna go have some fun before we go out for this afternoon's hunt. Never come to deer camp and rode a Ranger, so pretty awesome. Like I said at the beginning, if Dan's gonna do it, Dan's gonna do it big.
We own kind of that second terrace over there where those trees are.
And then it runs down.
It runs down.
Across the creek.
Food plot across the creek. We went back in and we planted native grass. So the deer feel really safe moving around all the field edges and comfortable. Gives them bedding right on the place, and then we can make sure that we have plenty of food for them too. Okay.
Man, Kansas is one of my favorite places to hunt. I've had so much, not just me, Eric, Chris, and myself, we've all had so much success in the state of Kansas. That's a hard state to beat.
Last year, Jason Bowers knocked down a mega giant named Fishhook. This buck had eluded Jason for years, and the legend of Fishhook kept growing. As year after year, he would continue to outlast every hunting season. But Fishhook finally met his fate last year when he came into this field and gave Jason a perfect shot opportunity. Jason takes the shot and stuck it to him with his dead ringer broadhead.
Fishhook. That is the deer we have chased for 4 solid years. This is a deer we call Fishhook. Whew. This dude has made an old Virginia boy's dream come true. I never in a million years thought I'd be sitting behind an animal like this. Jason last year had the hunt of all hunts, the stories of all stories, and the history of all history with Fishhook, and it just ended up being a great hunt. But you kill a deer like that with that story, where in the world do you go from there?
Be sure to like and subscribe, and if you click the notification bell, you'll be one of the first to know when we drop a video.
Jason Bowers is hunting in Kansas at the Scent Crusher farm with Dan Drake. But Jason is also sharing camp with Nick Hoffman from Nick's Wild Ride.
Well, I'm sitting in Kansas with Eric, Mr. Serious Hunter, who goes to bed at 9 o'clock, and you know, which is fine, but I'm talking to Jason on the phone, and he's out there at Dan's and got Nick Hoffman, and they are hunting, but they are still having a good time. And like I said, I was actually a little jealous.
You've got Nick Hoffman, Wild Ride. I mean, these guys are having a blast, and they're deer hunting, they're killing stuff, they're hanging out at camp, they're cooking, they're hanging out at the campfires. And I gotta admit, man, I'm jealous. I wish I was there.
There's some really big deer in here, and we've seen a couple of them, but they're not going anywhere close to where our stand is, so desperate times call for desperate measures. Anyone who says that scent control isn't important, that right there is proof positive that it is. We use every possible thing, scent crusher, everything we need to be as scent-free as possible. That deer was downwind to us. He knew something was up, but it gave us that extra bit of time for him to move on. Granted, he's drunk with love too, but every little bit helps. I'll take it.
Jason is excited as it's now his turn in the stand.
It is my time to bat. It is game time. It is the first afternoon in. I love Kansas. I've had great success. Kansas is probably my favorite state to hunt, and I've got a good feeling about this afternoon.
God, what a perfect wind for this. We're having this super cool food plot. It's literally the wind's pushing. Just right back here to this bean field. All these deer are bed back here. Wow. Hopefully one of us is gonna smash one. I got a good feeling. It's warm, it's about 68, but hey, it's November 10th, and these deer are still gonna do what deer do. I mean, deer's gonna do. I mean, it's the rut, so. It may be last light, but hey, we'll be here.
It is the first week of November. At this point in time, once you have doe starting to pop, you've got to look for those pinch points, those funnels. The easiest place from a buck to travel from point A to point B, his quickest way, his easiest way, that's where you hang and you simply wait for a buck to come off a lockdown. Typically they'll be with a doe for anywhere from 2 to 3 days, but as soon as he loses that doe, he will get up and he will cruise.
I mean, this is stuff you dream about as a little kid. I always have. I love hunting the Midwest. I mean, growing up, watching people chase these deer, these giants. I mean, it's just a super, super cool feeling to know that at any given second, the giant or the biggest deer of your life could walk right down here in front of you.
And just like that, a mega giant buck does walk in close to the edge of the timber. Will Jason really be able to take 2 giant Kansas bucks back to back 2 years in a row?
Go ahead, subscribe to our channel, like it. You're going to get that little notification bell. It's going to go off, let you know when something new hits. Follow, subscribe. Happy hunting this fall. We love everybody. Thank you again.
Jason Bowers is hunting on his first day in Kansas. Just as Jason was about to give up all hope for the day, a mega giant buck has shown up, and Jason is excited at the prospect of taking another monster buck in Kansas.
You got your stuff together when you can go to a farm that you've never been on. You put a little bit of work in the summertime. You look at aerial max, you look for those pinch points, X marks the spot. You go in, you hang your set. 3 months later, and an absolute mega giant, world-class, mass trash. I mean, this deer is a slob.
That's a big one. Don't move. I think I should grunt at him and see what he does. I'll see what he does.
You want to talk about a big deer? That was a giant. Holy crap, where did he come from? I mean, literally 70 yards. I can make that shot. I should have probably flung an arrow.
That was a giant. That range to me was 77 yards. The cool thing is, though, where Nick and I split up, Nick is directly where that deer's walking. So, he's got a good chance of shooting that big deer. God, that was a toad.
Even though Jason wishes that the deer was closer, it may hurt worse for not attempting, but Jason erred on the side of caution.
He wouldn't even pick his head up. I grunted at him, snort wheezed, everything. That was a big deer. That's what you come to Kansas for right there.
He's out there 70 yards, and my only thing is man, why didn't you let that bow eat? Because I've watched that dude shoot in the yard, and 70 yards for a lot of people may seem far, but everybody's different, and every situation is different, and I bet you Jason's wishing he'd let that arrow fly.
That's the magical part of the rut. That's a neighbor's deer, an absolute giant, world class, but you know what? I just couldn't get him killed. It wasn't my day.
Jason Bowers is hunting in Kansas in mid-November. On his first day, after a long day of waiting, a mega giant buck shows up at 70 yards. After second-guessing himself to take a shot, the deer walks away. Now, Jason is on his second day, hoping to get that same buck to come in and give him a closer shot.
Day 2, first morning in, I'm in the same set I was in yesterday. I'm hoping this giant comes back, but you know what? I'm not going to be picky. I don't have a lot of time to hunt, so Hopefully the rut's gonna drag something else down this creek bottom. I hit the Cherokee bone call. It's a classic funnel spot for deer during the rut.
Right here.
It isn't that mega giant, but Jason sees that he's a 10-pointer.
It's a good 10. He's right on the side of this creek bottom.
So now Jason has to make a decision. Should he shoot if given the opportunity, or hold out for that mega giant?
Yeah, I'm gonna shoot that deer. I'm gonna shoot that deer.
I've made my mind up. I'm throwing an arrow at this deer. It comes running in.
Dude, he's coming right here.
That's game over. Thanks, Dan.
That happened fast.
It's a perfect wind. I mean, these deer are cruising this creek bottoms and this pinch like crazy. I mean, they're just running back and forth through here. Give me some, buddy. We got a deer down in Kansas. God, it don't happen like that.
Jason sends a text that he just killed a monster. And I'm thinking, man, this dude's on fire. So he sends me the picture, and I think when he got up on it, it wasn't the monster that he thought, but hey, he's like me. He's wanting to put something on the ground, and hey, good buck.
We just climbed down. Right there's my arrow. Let me tell you something. This little setup right here is awesome. You got a little creek bottom that comes through here, and this is just a narrow strip. It's probably like 20 yards wide. And Dan's come in here, he's planted native grass, he's got clover, he's got turnips, radishes. And I mean, this right here is a murdering spot. I mean, this is one of the best spots that I've seen. I've said it once, and I'm gonna say it again. This year, I'm shooting these new Victory VAP arrows with a dead ringer Super Freak on the end. It is the most deadly combination for an arrow and a broadhead that I have ever shot. This dang expedition is shooting darts right now. I mean, it's the best I've ever shot a bow. Between the expedition, the dead ringer, and the Victory, I have never shot a bow as good as I do this one. And when I step in the woods, I am more confident with this setup than I've ever been before. So it's a pretty dang sweet feeling when you stick an old bloody arrow in your quiver. It means you had a good morning here in Kansas. I think I see a dead deer. Boy, he didn't go anywhere. Oh, God, he's already stiff. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you. Am I tickled to death? Absolutely. I'm tickled to death just to be a hunter and to be able to do what we do. I thought this dude, I knew he wasn't a giant. Oh, it was first light. And he came running through that creek bottom 100 miles an hour. And I seen these big white horns, and I thought he was a lot bigger. And I'm gonna tell you what, I made a mistake. That doesn't mean I ain't happy, because I am tickled to death to take this deer home to Virginia. But I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this is a big old 160 or 70 inch deer and he's 5 or 6, because he's not. I mean, we've always said, and if you got to make a split decision to judge what they are, don't do it. And I mean, it was a split second decision. What a deer. I mean, he's beautiful. I mean, I'm tickled to death, but I know that's not the deer that Dan has here on this farm. So
kudos to Jason for not coming off and saying, well, this is a mature, 120 inch 4-year-old that'll never need. No, he didn't. He shot a younger buck. It looked big. It caught him. He just looked at him, made the decision. I'm gonna kill. He executed, very ethical, very clean, comes off of it. He's smiling from ear to ear. Can't say enough. That's what hunting's about. Rock on, brother.
I didn't start deer hunting because I wanted to shoot big 5 and 6 and 7-year-old deer all the time, and just, it's gotta be 6, or it's gotta be a 140, or it's gotta be a 150 to shoot him. That's not me, man. That's not where I come from. I deer hunt because I love to deer hunt. I deer hunt because it gets me excited, and I tell everybody, if you're happy to take a deer, you know, then you should hunt him. You shouldn't listen to what other people say. I am tickled to death to take this deer home to Virginia.
Dude, congratulations, man. Look at that. You want me in the pictures? Here. Hey. Look at those cool stickers on the brows and stuff. That's great. Congratulations, man. That's awesome.